for Bring Your Own Lunch. Personal stories about the business with my daddy, Dave T. Koenig.
All right, come on in, have a seat, welcome. This is the Bring Your Own Lunch podcast at BringYourOwnLunch.com, the magic of iTunes, the majesty of Stitcher, and however you found your way to download this podcast, I thank you. As you heard at the top, my name is Dave T. Koenig. I'm an actor, writer, director, producer, comedian, all-around swell dude. I'm on steroids. And of course, I'm the host of the podcast you're listening to right now. BYOL is the hashtag you can use if you want to reach out on social media. Like us on Facebook.com/BringYourOwnLunch. Follow us on Twitter at BYOL Podcast. Follow us on Instagram at BringYourOwnLunch. And there's other social media ways to be involved there. And of course, there's our own website, the mothership, if you will, Bring Your Own Lunch, where you can find out all the information about all the guests on this program, past, present, and presumably future. And of course, you can always send me a personal email, dave@bringyourownlunch.com. I mentioned I'm on steroids. I'll tell you why in a second. But first, I want to tell you about the guest I have this week. Is just another awesome guest. I feel in a certain way that maybe I'm very redundant in how I describe the people I have on this show. But honestly, I'm being completely sincere. I have had great fortune to meet a great number of awesome people in my career as an actor. And that's part of why I started this show, so I can show some love, I guess you could say, so I can highlight the people I've met and really expose a new audience to them and them to a new audience. And just to get the word out, because I think these are people who deserve the attention that they might get from someone listening to this podcast. So this week, no exception, my friend Gameela Wright, who's a fantastic actor, a veteran actor who has been pretty much in everything that has shot in New York over the past many years. And she's just terrific. And she and I met doing a commercial for salad dressing bunch of years ago. I can't even remember what year it was. And it was one of those funny things where I did the commercial, it aired, I got paid for it, it was great, but I never got to see it. And I only ever got to see it one time, and that's because I tracked it down on some ad website that was compiled out of the UK, I believe. So I saw it that one time. If I wanted to do anything more than just watch it that one time, I had to pay for it, and I never ended up paying for it. That site has since left this earthly plane, and I have yet to see it again. So Gameela says she has it, and I'm looking forward to seeing that commercial. And I think I was at my biggest as a person back then too. So anyway, Gameela and I hit it off. We had a really fun time working together on this commercial. I think it was on a Saturday, which meant we got bonus pay, I think. And I've stayed friends with her since, and she's one of the sharpest people I know in the business. Not just from a quick wit standpoint, and that's definitely true, but also somebody who really gets the business as a business. She, like me, started a little bit late, in our late 20s. And we had kicked around doing other things before we got into the business, which gave us a really solid foundation of what it means to be in business before we got involved. And Gameela has used those skills that she's learned in other businesses and her really interesting life of education, both formal and informal, to really make herself a very unique individual in this business. And we get into a lot of really interesting subjects about how her environment didn't dictate who she became, and it really touched a lot of the things that I remember from my childhood, and we connected on a very deep level, and it's a very cool conversation. Plus, if you're one of the people who listens to this program, actually that's a terrible if, because if you're hearing me say this, you're listening to this program, but if you're one of the people who listens to this program who is either just getting into the business or is on the outside thinking about getting into the business, this is an episode for you. Take out a pad of paper and a pen or pencil and take notes, because Gameela gives some of the best advice you're going to hear from anybody. And in fact, she has developed her career so that she is not just a very successful working actor, but she is also a coach for other people to do this and to help them understand what the business really is. And not just about the acting part, but also running your career as though it is a business. So you're going to get some awesome advice during the course of this episode, and I look forward to playing that for you. I mentioned I'm on steroids. It's not the kind that gets you kicked out of baseball. I mentioned a few weeks ago that I was having some pain in my back, and I ended up making a joke on Facebook, and people reacted to that joke as though I was saying that I actually had kidney stones. And as it turns out, it's just a flaring up of an old problem I had with a couple herniated discs in my back. So I went to the doctor finally, and I've been prescribed a steroid to take down the inflammation around these nerve endings in my back, which causes quite a bit of pain. I would say over the past week or so, I have been in like level 8 or 9 pain at different times. And I don't know, I'm not looking for you to feel sorry for me, but I can say this. If you're in pain, go to the doctor. I know not everybody can just pick up and go for various reasons, but it's so stupid when I do. I'll let myself be in pain for way too long, and then I'll go to the doctor, and it's just stupid. So take my advice, go to the doctor, because otherwise you're just being stupid like me. So hopefully I'm on the mend, and I will continue to update you on my progress. One thing I can also recommend if you have back pain, I had an incident several years ago where I did have these herniated discs, and I went through several different methods of trying to help it out. I did physical therapy, I did medication, I had 2 epidural shots in my back to try and take down the inflammation and take the pressure off of the nerve that was running next to this herniated disc or these herniated discs. And none of it worked until I finally, in desperation, went on Craigslist and found somebody who was selling an inversion table. That's the kind of table where you lock your ankles in, lean backwards, and you can hang upside down. It was using that inversion table that pretty much cleared up my back problem for, I guess, 6 or 7 years. And it's only now just flaring up again. So I'm going to be spending some time hanging upside down once I finish the course of medication that I'm on, this methylprednisone stuff. I think it's methylprednisone. It doesn't really matter. But what does matter is that if you have back pain, an inversion table may be something that you should consider, because it has helped me. It's just anecdotal evidence here, so it's obviously not a scientific study that I'm doing here. But if you have back pain, hang upside down. If you want to hang out and watch some stuff, this weekend I found out just yesterday that a project I was involved in that shot, I think, last year is now going to be part of the Manhattan Film Festival in New York City. Is a project called Karl Manhair, Postal Inspector. It's written and directed by my friend Chandler Kaufman, produced by Hillary Cutter, and stars Jeffrey Cantor, you may know from a lot of things, including Daredevil. He plays the newspaper publisher guy. That fun web-based series, which was turned into a short film, is now part of the Manhattan Film Festival. It'll be showing on Sunday, if you're listening to it the week this program comes out. So that's Sunday, June 14th, 2015 at 1 p.m. as part of the Variety Short program. So if you are interested in going to see a very fun project, go see that. My part is very small in it, but I think some really good work went into that, and I think it deserves your attention. And if you're not doing anything on Sunday and you're in New York City, head on down to the Players Theater. That's 115 McDougal Street. In New York City. All the information you need for that is at the Manhattan Film Festival website. I'll have the link to that in the show notes for this episode on the website. That's bringyourownlunch.com. Before we get to the interview, let me please implore you to go check out Banooba.net, BANOOBA.net. Those are the folks that provide the music at the beginning, middle, and end of this show. They're awesome. Go to their site, find out where they will be playing live. They're a great live band. Download their music, buy their music, support them the way they have supported me by providing this show with tremendously entertaining music to enhance what I'm doing just in speaking to you now and to interview these folks that I bring on the show. So go check them out. And of course, if you want to help us, I actually have 2-phase helping suggestion for you here. First of all, as I've been saying countlessly, and I will continue to do this, until I don't know if I'll ever stop. But I would ask you to go to iTunes or Stitcher and go there and rate the show, meaning give it a number of stars, review the show, say something nice about it, and then subscribe to the show. Rating and reviewing the show tells iTunes and Stitcher to tell other people to listen to what we're doing. It helps us in our marketing. It helps us in our exposure to other people, and it gets more people involved. And more and more people are jumping in and listening to this program each and every week, and that's awesome. And I would just like for more people to do so. And hopefully we're providing good things to people who do listen, including you. And if you do, in fact, subscribe, you will get the show as soon as it's released. If you're following along at home, this show sometimes goes through a little bit of a variation in release schedule. That's just based on the vagaries of being a working actor. The schedule is not predictable, so sometimes things like releasing a podcast exactly when you want to can be a bit of a challenge. But if you're subscribed to the show, you don't have to worry about it. You will get it as soon as it goes up on the internet, and you will be able to download it immediately to your iPhone or whatever, or your Android or your iTunes at home, or you get the idea. You're not silly. You're an intelligent person. You know how to use this stuff. Just subscribe to the show, and then again, that tells iTunes and Stitcher to spread the word. It's good for us. It's good for you. And also, we're coming up on episode 50, and I would ask this: if you have been a regular listener, it would be great to get feedback in any form. But if you could, just send me an email, dave@bringyourownlunch.com. Whatever you want to say about this show, it is completely open, and I am very much open-minded to hearing. So send me your thoughts about this show. What do you like? What do you don't like? What would you like to see happen? What would you like to see not happen anymore? I would like, after 50 episodes, to just get a sense of where we are and where we're going, and what you like and what you don't like. So if you can take a second and just jot down a quick email, it doesn't have to be terribly well written. I'm not going to judge it based on that merit. I'm just looking for some feedback. So send me a personal email, dave@bringyourownlunch.com, and I would certainly appreciate it. All right, let's get into it with Gameela Wright, native New Yorker, world traveler, fantastic actor, punctual. We'll find out. Here's Gameela. Enjoy. You know, when you do a podcast at a rehearsal studio, you're going to get what you're going to get.
That's true.
That is the risk you take when you go into a rehearsal studio, especially where they do improv.
Yeah.
You're going to hear, like you said, they're herding elephants in the next room. So if people hear something in the background that's reminiscent of herding elephants, that's where we are.
Yep, yes. Or people screaming or singing, like a whole chorus, like a whole gospel chorus.
Yeah, we kind of lucked out that there is no gospel chorus today.
Yeah. I've had some pretty bad ones.
Yeah. We're at the place called Simple Studios. What's the last time you were? What happened the last time you were here?
Last time I was here, it was a miracle. We were all like, wait a minute, there's no noise. And so my guy who coaches me, he said, he had a guy there who needed to be put on tape, and I was supposed to go first, but he said, can we do him first, because it's never been this quiet here.
Yeah, right.
So let's do this now before it changes. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Let's do him first.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Now, you mentioned coaching, so let's jump into that, because it's not something I've talked a lot about on this show because it just hasn't come up. But but you are involved, or you have a coach that you work with.
Well, yeah, he's an acting teacher and coach. He's been my acting coach, Bob Krakauer. He's actually pretty well known now. I've been with him over 10 years, and I love him to death. And so what started to happen is, because I've been with him so long, there are a few of us who he's gotten so busy that he has to he needed people that he could pass other people on to.
Right.
Who needed help, but he didn't have time. He only has but so much time in the day.
Sure.
So I'm going to be one of those people. There are a couple other people. And then people started coming to me on their own, actually, which I was really shocked. I was like, wait, you want my help?
Well, don't sell yourself short.
It wasn't that I was selling myself short. I just never thought of myself that way.
Sure. Well, you are very kind and you're a humble person.
For the most part.
I mean, you have a sharpness to you, and I've always liked that. But you are very humble, and that probably comes from, I don't know, where does that come from? Where does the humble part of you come from?
Well, as my mother used to say, you came out your mama like everybody else. So. What makes you so special?
That's reassuring.
Not saying that everybody's not special.
No.
But just saying that you and I could. I don't know what your life experience is, so how can I possibly think that I'm somehow better than you?
True, and that makes a lot more sense to me. Yeah, and I believe that. I mean, I do think that there are some people walking around, especially in our business, who maybe think that they're entitled to more than someone else.
Just a little bit.
With a little smidge.
Yeah, just a little smidgen. And you're just like, oh, dude, get over yourself.
Yeah.
God. Wow. And I understand that in this business we have to have some ego, or else we wouldn't be able to survive it.
No.
But we also, and we have to have a thick skin. But I think that ultimately, if you want to survive in this business, there are a few things that I think you need to have. And maybe this is why I'm a coach. There was a girl who lived in my building, and she knew I was an actor. And she was 21. She had just finished college. She went to Princeton for like something totally just unrelated. And her mom was freaking out because she wanted to be an actor.
Okay.
After 4 years in Princeton.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine racking up the
debt on that.
Yeah,
exactly. So they said, "Can we sit down and talk to you?" And no one had ever asked me to do that before.
Interesting.
Especially not someone who was already in the business. I had people in the business ask if we could sit and talk, and they could kind of pick my brain.
Someone who was on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I was like, sure. So we went to Starbucks, and her mom was sitting there quite upset.
Yeah.
And I think two things happened. One, her mother wanted me to tell her, don't do this. And I said, I'm not going to tell her that. Why would I tell her that? First of all, she's a grown woman.
Right.
Second of all, why not? And she said, well, you can't survive. I said, I've survived. And I said, and I don't have a 4-year degree from Princeton.
Right.
I said, so no matter what, she's going to be okay.
She's got a pretty good plan B.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She has a backup if she needs it. I said, but I know the last thing you want is to leave this earth with regrets, or as little as you can.
Sure.
And the worst thing is to be going to meet your maker, going, I wonder what would have happened if I had blank.
Yes.
I can't think of anything worse. I can't think of a quicker road to hell than that.
That's like hell on earth.
That's hell on earth.
I mean, I've talked about that before, where in this life, what's the point of continuing doing something that's not making you happy?
Exactly.
Just to maybe make money.
I have a friend like that.
Yeah, they, generally speaking, those people are not super happy.
No, they're not.
No, they focus on that one aspect of their life, and then the rest of it just falls apart. But you have to be a full person. You have to be a full person, and life is not without risk. And so that's what I told her mom. And so her mom said, well, and you remember you said I have an edge? Yes. Well, sometimes it comes out when I don't expect it to. Because to me, her mom said something that kind of, I guess for me, just resonated. Maybe because I didn't have that kind of support when I was younger, and I wanted to be an actor when I was a little girl. Okay. But her mom said, should I be supportive? And I said, yes, that's your job. Nice. It's true. You're her mom. Of course you're supposed to be. Unless she comes in and says, I want to be a serial killer. Right. Yeah. I would love to murder people. What do you think, Mom? Come on, Mom. What's the problem? Everyone's doing it. Exactly. Right. No, and you're a parent, and there is a fine line at the same time between being ultra supportive, right, to the point of fostering someone's delusions, right, and not being supportive at all and destroying someone's dream. Right. Like, you have to find that perfect butter zone there. Exactly. Where you are offering that support of someone's desires, but without feeding that they're going down the wrong path. You know? Yeah. But starting out, anybody can start out. That's the cool thing about it. Yeah. I've told many people. I had a 21-year-old that said to me, is it too late for me to get started? 21. And I said, well, if that is true, I should just shoot myself in the head right now. If what you're saying is true. And he said, oh, okay, well, what do you think? I said, there's only 3 reasons you can't be an artist or an actor. Yeah. He said, what are those reasons? I said, you can't remember your lines, you have no talent, or you're dead. Right. If you're breathing, and you know, Marlon Brando was 2 of those things. And he's still making money. And he's gone. Yeah. He's dead, and he couldn't remember his lines. Yet still people think he's amazing. Exactly. They'd hire him today if they could. If they could bring him back, they would. Even if they couldn't, they'd hire him. They would hire his corpse and just put it in the room like Beacon and Bernie's if they could. No, it's interesting because you said, he asked, is it too late to get started? Yeah. It brings up an interesting point in that for me, and I don't know if this is the way for you. Okay. it's sometimes hard to look at yourself in the mirror and say, this is what I do for a living, because sometimes you, especially when you compare yourself to other people,
Right.
you don't feel like you're started yet.
I know.
And you've been in it for a while. I've been in it for a while.
Yeah.
And we still don't feel like necessarily we have earned the right to call ourselves, professional working actors. And
I
it's
do.
such a weird thing.
It took me a long time.
It does. It takes a long time, but there are still days where I'm like, wait, am I actually in this business anymore? Because the phone hasn't rung in 2 weeks.
Right.
Did they forget to send me the rejection letter?
Right.
So it is an interesting perspective, but I want to go back to the beginning, since you've kind of alluded to it a couple times now. So where did you grow up?
New York, born and raised.
Born and raised.
Right here on the island of Manhattan.
Right on the island of Manhattan.
Yeah, how rare is that?
It's rare, but it's not as rare as if you were to. No, how am I trying to put this? It's not as rare as I thought it would be for this podcast. There are several people I know, and maybe it's a kinship that happens naturally, because I grew up on Long Island and we're from this area, so we kind of speak the same language.
Right.
So what area of town did you grow up in?
I grew up in East Harlem, Spanish Harlem.
Spanish Harlem.
Yeah, most of my family's still there.
Yeah.
And I'm from here, so I always laugh when people say, when I'm out in the suburbs, and people go, wouldn't you rather live here? I'm like, no.
That's all you know.
Well, not just that. I like the suburbs.
Sure.
But I'd kill myself after about a year.
Yeah, I can imagine for somebody who was so deeply ingrained. Yeah, it's got to be hard to slow or to adjust to a different pace.
Yeah, I could have a place like we have my late mother-in-law's place. So if we lived there, that'd be fine. But I'd have to have my place in Manhattan.
Yeah,
or else I'd go a little crazy.
After a while, I find that too. Yeah. And you need to get back to that excitement feel.
Yeah,
because there is something about New York that is indescribable. And
there's no other place like it.
Yeah. So what was it like growing up in Spanish Harlem?
It was great. It's so funny because people have so many misconceived notions about growing up in the quote-unquote ghetto. And I've had people ask me, oh, where'd you grow up? And I say East Harlem or Harlem. And they go, oh, that must have been so difficult, so hard. So I finally found the right answer to that.
Which is?
No, not at all. Why do you say that?
Yeah. And then
they're like,
people decide that they have a dentist appointment that they really desperately need to get to.
Or they go, well, things that I've read. I said, do you really believe everything that you've read?
Yeah. So let's dispel some myths.
Okay.
All right. Since you are, and I don't want to age or date you.
Okay.
Date you. I always have trouble with that
They're
term.
the same thing.
Yeah. I don't want to reveal your age, because
okay.
it's your right. But what rough period are we talking about when you were coming of age, let's say, when you were starting to realize the world around you, not just like your bedroom and the toys you had? So
early, and the reason why was because for a number of reasons. I wasn't raised Christian like most of the people around me and like most of my family. I was raised in Islam.
Oh, okay.
That's why my name is Arabic.
Okay.
And so there was already that difference. So we didn't celebrate Christmas. At all.
Okay. Well, no. Well, there are some people who out of just I guess tradition or ritual. Yeah.
They'll celebrate it.
Yeah, like my family. I was raised. Well, my mom was raised Catholic. My dad was raised Jewish, but they didn't put any religious backing into anything they did for us. But we celebrated the holidays as a celebration of family. So it wasn't, so Christmas was certainly just about the family and being together.
Did you do Hanukkah too?
We did, yeah. And it was great, except for the one year where we burned down the Christmas tree. 8 straight nights. Nah, that's an old joke. Anyway, but so you didn't do anything other than the Islamic tradition. Yeah,
which there really are none. I mean, except, Ramadan, which is not fun.
Right.
You only eat when the sun's down. Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I don't know why they call it a fast when it seems to go so damn slow.
It's exactly right. But we traveled. That's what we did during the holidays.
Oh, okay, sure.
So, from my neck of the woods, that wasn't very common, especially back when I was a kid. It was weird. And so I got to see other countries and other ways of being. And there's a worldliness that only travel can give you. There's an education that only travel can give you.
Absolutely.
And I think that you were asking when did I realize my world was beyond that? Very, very young, because we traveled.
So it wasn't just like your corner was your whole world. No. You understood that there was a world at large. And I remember meeting a girl. My uncle lived on the west side of Harlem. And I remember playing with this girl that I met or something like that.
I think I must have been like 8, somewhere between 8 and 10. And she said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Oh, I just live in East Harlem." She said, "Where's that?" And I said,
Wow.
East.
Yeah, you're in West Harlem. Yeah.
Spanish Harlem, El Barrio. What's that?
Wow.
And I mean, literally, my mouth was open because I couldn't, and I realized she had never left the neighborhood.
Right.
And I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah. I think that is maybe where some of those myths come from.
Yeah.
Is just that people lived on their block.
Yeah.
They went to school relatively close to there.
Right.
And that's it.
Yeah. I've met people who were like, "Oh yeah, I live in Jersey. I've never been to New York." Why not?
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, we went to Nigeria.
Wow.
And I came back and kids asked, "Why did you go to Nigeria?" And I said, "Because it's there. Why not?"
Sure. So you were not the typical New Yorker growing up.
I wasn't the typical kid. I wasn't the typical kid from Harlem. I wasn't typical in any way. My parents, especially my mom, were very, very, it was very important to them about education, especially my mom. It was important that we speak well. So I used to get a lot of raised eyebrows because I spoke so well.
Sure.
So I would get it from people in Harlem, and I would get it from people outside of Harlem when they would find out where I was from.
Yeah. How did that make you feel when people
Pissed.
would... Yeah, I would imagine.
And it made me pissed for a number of reasons. Why does a location have to indicate the way I'm going to speak?
Yes.
Or why does it surprise you that somebody from this area can speak this way? Colin Powell came from Harlem. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it would bother me on both sides because it was bias from both ends. Why do you talk like that? Why do you speak like that? Who do you think you are? What's wrong with you? You trying to sound white? No, I'm trying to speak correctly, actually.
Sure. Yeah.
What's wrong with speaking correctly? And they would say, well, say something. I said, do you speak any African dialects? No. I said, so the only language you speak is English, right? Yeah. So why don't you just speak that well? There's nothing wrong. I can speak poorly if I want to. I can speak the street vernacular if I want to. But as an African American, if you want to survive, you better know how to switch it off.
Sure. Yeah.
And turn it on when you need to. But I didn't as a kid. I'm like, I'm going to speak the way I speak.
Well, good for you. Good for you.
So, but I used to get it outside of when I lived too, because people would say, "Oh, where are you from?" And I would tell them, I go, or this is how I can always know an inappropriate question is about to come. There's something you can know. As a white person, you may not know this, but as a black person, you know this, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
Or a Latino will know this.
Okay.
Or an Asian. Any person of color is going to know this.
Right.
When an inappropriate question is about to come, you're going to see a head tilt like this. And you're going to see the brows furrow and the thinking for about 5 seconds. And that tells you, oh, God, here it comes. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. What is it? What is it you want to know? Is that your hair? You know, something like, and just like, oh my God. But you can also understand somebody's curiosity because it's not something that they're exposed to.
True.
So you do understand it to some extent. But when somebody would do that and go, where are you from? It was always, in my belief, about you don't sound like I think you should sound, so you must be from somewhere else, but I thought you were from here, so let me ask. Yeah. Because I have a preconceived notion. And
so it happens. But what's really fascinating is hearing you explain that. I realized that I had that same thing happen to me when I was young.
How so?
Well, I would speak clearly, and I would
not Long Island. You mean?
I didn't sound like I was soft, like I was going to get soft ice cream. Going Melville,
coffee,
going Jericho Turnpike, south in the South Shore.
God, people I know sound like that.
I know, and it's only in retrospect that I realize how many people in my town sounded like that.
Right.
But my mom didn't sound. She had one of those non-accent accents, and she worked hard at that. I think
my mom too.
Yeah. Well, she grew up in a few different places, and I think that helped. My dad grew up on Long Island, but he didn't have a thick accent. And I guess was influenced by them and what I heard on TV.
Right.
And I would try to, and I was interested in using language the way I wanted to use it.
Right.
So people would make fun of me. They would say like, "Oh, you use big words."
Big words.
That was my nickname in like
really?
4th, 5th grade or something like that. Big words. But for you use that as a way to affirm your identity, which was awesome. For me, it made me not want to be smart.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I went the opposite way.
I know, it's fascinating.
The more they told me you're trying to sound white, the more I did it.
Good for you. Wow, that's awesome.
Fuck you. Excuse my expression.
No, it's fine. I wish I had that. I wish I had that sort of inner thing that allowed you to say that, and I would just be like, okay, I guess I won't be smart anymore.
Yeah.
And I would put my head down academically, and as it turned out, I didn't apply myself anymore because
wow,
that was a big thing for me.
And but you know what? Also, don't forget where I came from, especially not that there weren't people in my family who didn't go to college. There were, because there were so many of us, but because my parents had instilled in us, the only way you're going to get out of this is with an education.
Yes, yeah.
And is with people perceiving you a certain way.
Right.
That was instilled from very, very young.
Yeah.
If you want to do better than us, you're going to have to blank.
Right,
you're going to have to speak well. You're going to have to conduct yourself in a certain manner.
Right.
The traveling helped a lot with that, because then you got used to dealing with people from all different places.
Which is awesome.
Which is awesome. So for me, it was a life skill that I was being taught. And so when someone came who rejected it or made fun of it, my thought was, but you're going to still be here in 20 years.
Yeah.
I'm going to be gone.
It's true. And I guess some of my surroundings obviously had a big influence on me, because I grew up in a town where there were extremely wealthy people. Okay. I was definitely not from the most wealthy family. We did great. I mean, my dad, I've said this before a million times, my dad did great. He, great provider. And we had plenty, and in the late 80s, he did really well. Just like a lot of people did. But, you never had that sense of, we got to get out of here. It wasn't like there was anything to achieve above what these kids felt they already had. Right. So I guess that played into it somewhat. Exactly. Though, their parents were like lawyers and CEOs and stuff like that. But somehow being smart was looked down on, which I still don't get.
It was looked down on me because I don't know how it was for you. I mean, I think it's still that way in some education systems. But I was in the my brother and I both were in the gifted classes. Yeah. So we were already screwed. Yes. Because we already stood out already because we were smarter. We were in the group of the smart kids. Yep. So the other kids looked at us funny already. And then we spoke the way that we spoke. Right, and then we traveled. And then we weren't Christian. I mean, we were just weird all around.
I think that's why you and I are friends. I think we bonded in our weirdness, somehow just recognized that about each other.
And didn't even know it.
We defy our physical assumptions.
Yes.
If that's a phrase.
Familial assumptions, because they're, my mom and dad, and this is understandable, especially back then when I was a kid. When I said at 4 I knew at 4 I wanted to be an actor.
Yes.
At 4.
Yes.
I mean, how many 4-year-olds are like, no, I know what I want to do?
It's very rare.
It's very rare.
It's very rare. What's not as uncommon is thinking you want to be an actor at 4.
And then realizing.
And then putting it aside.
Oh, that's what I did.
For other things. Okay, let's talk about that. What I did. Yeah, so let's talk about that.
Well, because of where my family, my parents, both from here. My mother's family was from the West Indies and immigrated, very poor. My father's family was from the South, came from the South, very poor.
Sure.
So to them, a job is it.
Yeah.
And so having their child, a black female, saying, I want to be an actor, back when I was a kid, was ludicrous to them. And so in their perception of trying to protect me, in their efforts to what they thought was protecting me. Yes. It really wasn't, but I understand why they thought it was.
Yeah, no, it's a very, I even think of my kids now where it's like, I would, if they want to, great, but I just know it's a long road to hoe. And
but what road isn't? It's just a different road to hoe.
It's very true.
If you want to be a doctor, the road to hoe is, oh my God.
Yeah.
The amount of money you have to pay for education, and there's no guarantee. Right. Because I used to work at a place that, like a place in Manhattan that, like an Actors Connection, actors come to take classes. Right, and I used to be like a mentor. And so I used to have a lot of people. Sometimes I'm so glad so many of these conversations were on the phone. I think if they had seen my face, they would have been insulted, because the look on my face was like, what the hell is wrong with you? But I'm on the phone, and I had one guy who said, what guarantee can you give me?
Whoa.
I said, guarantee of what?
Yeah, really?
He said that it's going to work. I said, tell me what career you have a guarantee.
Yeah.
He said, a lawyer. I said, oh, really? You're guaranteed to pass the bar? You're guaranteed to have good enough grades to even get into the right college and then pass the bar and then find the right law firm that's going to pick you up and the right internship. I said, there's no guarantee.
Right.
There's no guarantee that you're going to make a lot of money as a lawyer. I know lawyers who I have a friend who is an actress and her husband's a lawyer and she makes more money than he does.
Not surprising. You're exactly right in that there is a difficult path no matter which one you choose. What? It's how much you enjoy that path is really going to make the determination whether or not that's the right path for you.
Right.
Which is why when I was talking about my kids, like, I don't know if they can know now what they truly want to do. Let's say when they're 18, they might absolutely. And every time my daughter, because my son's a little too young to say anything like that, but every time my daughter says, "I'm going to be this," it's like, great. Yeah. You can absolutely do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You work at that and you can do that. And
they'll determine if that really is their path or not.
Right.
But as I've told parents who would call, because some parents called in a panic.
Yeah.
She won't shut up about it. I'm calling because she just won't stop. She just won't stop. She's been talking about it since she was 4 and she's 8. She said, one mother said, "What do you think?" I said, "I was 4 years old too." Yeah. I said, "Do you want the truth?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, everybody says they want the truth. Do you really want the truth?" Mm-hmm. She said, "Yeah." I said, "It's in her bones. It's not going away."
I think it's great advice.
If she's been speaking about it for 4 years straight and still harassing you, it's done. That's what she wants.
Yeah.
I said, just support her in that. Mm-hmm. I said, because that's who she is. Doing anything otherwise is diminishing who she is as a person.
Absolutely.
I said, I understand how scary it is. I said, but I spent 20-something years denying it and doing other things that were more adult and more legit. And I liked them. I was going to be a psychologist. I love psychology.
Sure.
And then I realized I don't have the patience for patients. I'm going to kill somebody. So I didn't go past my BA with it because I realized there's no way.
Yeah.
Even though I enjoyed it. I was in advertising for years. Loved it. When my division got laid off, I realized I don't want to do this crap for the next 25, 30 years. I never did. Because even when I was at my happiest in advertising, there was always this mosquito poking me.
It's so funny. Like, it speaks to the same... I don't want to say your story is the same as everybody else's, but it's a very common thread.
It's very common.
Including me, where all the words you just used, like you denied it, you put it aside, you did other things, you tried to be an adult, you tried to do something more legit. Yeah. That's exactly what I went through. And I think it happens to more people, no matter what your ultimate, like, back of my head dream is. Right. Have those feelings. Like, I should have been a mechanic. Right. But I decided to go and get a business degree. Right. Go with the thing that you really desperately think you should be doing every day. Yeah, trust your gut because it's never wrong. Yeah. It's the other people who, and I think you're right. There's a lot of people who fear and desire to try and quote unquote protect you from the difficult path. But they're all difficult. It's so true. Because what parents think is protection is really trying to mold somebody in the image that you think they should be in. Yeah. And you can say it's out of fear, out of protection, but it's really about trying to mold somebody into something that you think is better, what you think is better for them. But you can't do that because it's not your life. It's their life. It's hard to do. And because you don't want your children to suffer. You don't want your children to go through pain. Well, guess what? It's going to happen no matter what. Yes. So if it's going to happen anyway, you might as well be doing something you really enjoy while you're going through it. Exactly. It's like, I'm not going to, just totally direct this on me, but it's like when I finally decided to give acting a try and I was in my late 20s. Me too. I was 26. There you go. I said, and I couldn't find a job doing anything. I was out of work. I couldn't literally get a job delivering newspapers. And I said to myself, if it's going to be this hard to get a job, I want the job I get to be the one I really want. Right. And even if that means like getting 100 or 200 or 300 jobs a year. Right. I will want those jobs, so, or have to go on, I guess getting that number of jobs a year is probably a little absurd to think about, but going on that many auditions, yes. If I have to go on that many job interviews, quote unquote. Right, which is what they are. Yeah. Right. I would love it. Yeah. So that's what changed my whole life and brought me down the path that I'm on that I'm still on now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's break it down a little bit because you mentioned of some really interesting things.
Okay.
Okay. So you finished school.
Well, I was in school when I got laid off. I was still going to college part-time because I had a double major.
Okay, we got to rewind then.
I know. I had a double major. I had psychology and marketing.
All right, hang on a second.
2 whole majors.
That's an insane workload, I'm
yes,
sure.
it is.
All right,
and I had a full-time job.
Your high school experience, did you or
I went to a business high school.
So, was it one of the New York real focused schools?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
Murray Bertram. It no longer is now, but it used to be a business school back when I went to it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was Norman Thomas was a business high school, and Murray Bertram was a business high school, and management was my major. You had to have a major.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's like that. That's how why New York City schools can be unbelievably.
Yeah.
Give it an unbelievable head start to a lot of kids. Whether it's the business or the sciences or the math,
Yeah, my brother went to Bronx Science.
There you go.
Right.
Where was your school?
My school was down on Pearl Street all the way downtown.
So what was your commute every day?
It was, it was the 6 train all the way downtown.
Oh, man.
And I used to be late all the time back then because I didn't understand time like I do now. I'm never late now, but back then, oh man, for the longest time I was late all the time. My husband got me out of that habit. I'll explain it later. But so it was a very long commute, but I loved it because I loved, so many people talk about horrible high school experiences. I had an awesome high school experience. I have friends. I still have friends from high school.
That's great.
My oldest friend, I just spoke to him for his birthday the other day.
That's fantastic.
I've known him, a long time.
Yeah.
And so I went to a business high school. I was studying psychology, and then I got into advertising. So I was still going to school part-time and working.
Whoop, that's me.
Ooh.
I didn't turn off my phone.
And I turned mine on to vibrate.
I'm such a lame-o.
Oh, that's okay. At least it was you and not me. That's a first?
Yeah,
I feel very special.
You're like a good luck charm.
I love it. I like to shake things up.
Yes.
So when my division of my ad agency got laid off, the entire division.
No, I just want to understand. You went to the business high school,
right?
And you graduated there,
yeah.
And then where'd you?
When I first went to Long Island University,
okay,
in the Brooklyn campus.
Okay.
And then I was working. My first job was as a cashier in a supermarket that I got in high school, and I just stayed there.
Okay.
And it's kind of funny the way things work. One of the women who used to come into the store all the time. And this is the speaking well thing. And this is why it's so important, especially when you're African American.
Sure.
I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
My nickname was Maggie.
Uh-huh.
I know it has nothing.
That's interesting.
My brother's ex-girlfriend used to call me Magpie because I spoke so fast.
Okay.
So Maggie became my nickname.
You've slowed down.
I've slowed down. That's because of acting.
Oh, well,
if I talk at my natural speed, you said that your nickname in high school was.
Well, one of my nicknames was Big Words.
Right. Mine was.
Well, that's because you were in Spanish Harlem, right?
No, it's because I spoke so damn fast.
But only there could they
roll their R's like that. And it was a Latino guy who gave me the nickname.
Well, you learned that. Obviously, you picked that up very well.
Oh yeah. I grew up around Latinos.
Yeah.
So what were we saying?
Oh, you were saying that you worked in this supermarket and you spoke well. So
I spoke well. So this woman who I knew, I didn't know what she did. She said to me one day, she kind of pulled me aside when it was quiet. She said, Maggie, I need to ask you something. And I'm like, okay, sure. Why the hell are you working here? And I said, what are you talking about? She pointed to the other cashiers. She said, they kind of have to work here. I can tell you don't.
Yeah.
And I was flabbergasted. I was just, oh, okay. She said, do you know what I do? And she said, there's a program at the CUNY called the CUNY Baccalaureate Program. Mm-hmm. It's a special program. You have to interview at least when I went, and you had to interview to get into it. And if you got into it, you didn't have a traditional education like everybody else. You had a mentor, and you and the mentor determined what classes you took for the degree you were coming up with.
Wow.
It was great. And so she told me about the program. She said, we only mostly accept people who already have been in college a couple of years. Mm-hmm. She said, are you in college? I said, yes. How long? 2 years. She said, you're perfect.
Wow.
She said, are your grades good? I said, yes, they are. So she said, I'm the registrar for the program. She said, I'm going to I'm going to give you my information. I want you to come down and I moved from Long Island University into the CUNY baccalaureate program and had my double major.
Wow.
So I took classes not just at Baruch, the business college, but I took classes at John Jay. I took classes at Hunter.
Wow.
I took classes all over.
Wow.
So, but because my mentor and I determined, there were certain core classes you had to take.
Sure.
But the rest of it was up to me and my mentor. And it was my degree based on what he and I came up with.
And you had your pick of all the
CUNY colleges.
Good CUNY colleges.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
All the CUNY colleges, I could take whatever I wanted as long as my mentor agreed with it. And so I was going to school and I was working full-time in an ad agency.
What were you doing for them?
I started out as an administrative assistant and worked my way up to account manager.
Wow.
Yeah. Our biggest client was IBM.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you've seen the commercial world from the other side.
Yeah, I have.
What's the biggest contrast that you know from having seen how things are built from the inside to what it's like as an actor interacting with commercials?
Wow, that's a good question. Well, we did more marketing materials, so we delved into the commercial world, but not a whole lot.
Oh,
but I
okay.
still had to deal with some of that to some extent. I tell you, when I became an actor in a play with me said to me, he said, "Your business experience is really going to help you." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you're going to get it."
Yeah.
I said, "What do you mean get it?" He said, "You'll see." He said, "You're just going to get it."
He was right.
He was right.
Yeah.
Because I said, "Oh, of course, I understand the other side of the table because I've been on the other side of the table."
Mm-hmm.
I really, so my skin was already thick.
Yeah. I think that benefited me too. Like not
did you
getting.
have
I kicked around doing a lot of different things, and I think getting into acting, I had already gotten a real good sense of what it meant to be in business. So I treat my career like it's a small business.
Exactly.
And that knowledge, plus my dad owning his own company, gave me an idea what it's like to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
So I naturally, through osmosis, picked up a lot of stuff.
Right.
So people who do have a sense of what business is are going to do far better.
Right.
Because most of what we do is marketing and networking.
Yeah,
and
80% of it. And 20% actually acting.
At least.
Yeah.
20% if you're really lucky.
If you're lucky, yeah. If you're really lucky.
Yeah. So you did these programs and you were working.
Yeah, and then my entire division got laid off.
At the advertising firm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Including me. So I was with my ex-husband at the time, and I said to him, I said, "Well, if I go full-time now, I'll finish college in a year, in 2 semesters."
Right.
And so we discussed, and he said, "Yeah, okay." I said, "It means I'm not going to work. I mean, I'll get unemployment for a while." He said, "No, that's okay." And I know I was shocked. I was shocked he actually, there were other issues, but I was surprised that he was supportive of me there, but he was. And so I went back to school, and I went to school full-time instead of part-time. Mm-hmm. And I was taking classes at Hunter. And while I was at Hunter, I walked by and saw a poster for Twelfth Night. And I love Shakespeare. I love Shakespeare. So, and they were looking for actors. And all of a sudden, that little mosquito that had been bugging me all these years finally said, here you go. Why don't you try it?
Yeah.
It can't hurt you, why don't you? And so I auditioned and I got in, and I had never taken an acting class. I had only acted when I was very young in school, in plays, and I loved it, but my parents never let me do anything beyond that.
Right.
I could take dance classes, that was okay, but I couldn't be an actor. So I got into the play, and then I met people, and then I found a school, and then I just went from there, and then I just stayed with it.
What tipped the scale? When did you say, you gave it a shot, and you got into this play.
Yeah.
And that I'm sure fueled a little bit. Mm-hmm. But that was at Hunter?
That was at Hunter, yeah.
So it was still a college environment. So maybe sort of it's still inside the bubble?
Yes.
When did that bubble break and you said, okay, I'm going to go investigate the rest of it?
Well, I knew I needed to because it is a business. Mm-hmm. The director, one of the actresses he hired was an acting teacher at Terry Sharper Studios.
Okay.
And she taught beginning level acting. And he said to me, the director, he said, "You're good. You got some natural talent." He said, "But you do need some structure, some work." Mm-hmm. And then I just went over to T. Sharper Studio and started there, and then worked there, and then I got into Win Hammond's class years later. And Win Hammond, he's as old as dirt, man. But that man is, he's one of the most amazing acting teachers ever. And I got into his class, which I just couldn't believe, because you had to get by his assistant first, and then you got to audition for him. And I got in his class, and then I found Bob, and I just kept going. But the day that I never felt false being an actor. Mm-hmm. I just never felt I was at that point where I could say this is what I am.
Yeah, it's that starting.
Yeah, starting
thing.
until I was on Law and Order, the original series. I'm sitting in the car waiting to go to the set, and the driver says, "Hey, I'm just waiting for the boys." And I'm thinking, oh, okay, I guess a couple of grips or the DP or something comes in. And so Jerry Orbach comes and sits in the front seat. He's like, hi. And Jesse Martin comes and sits next to me. And I'm just like,
yeah, that's...
and it was, when I was on the set with them working, it worked really well. That was the first time. It was my first real big TV job. And I love theater. It's actually my favorite thing to do. But it was at that point where I went, I belong here. It was the first time I felt at home. Like I felt, this is where I'm supposed to be. Oh, okay. This feels right. Not that theater isn't right, because I've had that feeling with theater too, but it was the first time I had gotten to enough of a point that I was doing enough things. I was already doing commercials by this time. And all of a sudden, I'm an actor. I used to kind of say it uncomfortably, kind of waiting for people to have a weird reaction.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine who's actually from New Jersey, who's an actor, he said when he would introduce himself to people and they would ask him what he does, he says, I'm a working actor. He doesn't say I'm an actor. He says, I'm a working acter.
It makes a difference, doesn't it?
It does. So when I introduce myself, I introduce myself as a working actor.
Ah, very interesting. I've never tried that. In fact, I still sometimes try to avoid the question well, because it I don't know about, again, this is my experience and definitely me projecting and making assumptions. Yeah. But I don't know how that I'm an actor thing is going to make somebody else feel.
It depends on the other person.
It's true. Absolutely.
It depends on their biases or a lot of people. You find out, especially the ones who react the worst, you find out very often later on they wanted to do it themselves.
That makes sense.
And so I can kind of understand that. But let me ask you a question, because this is something I'm sure you've dealt with. The question that will make me kind of turn into Medusa and razor blades come out of my hair. Sure. And I want to kill somebody.
That's cooler than Medusa, by the way. Razor blades coming out of your hair.
Out of my hair. And it's the question when I tell them what I do, and they ask me, what have I seen you in?
Isn't that the strangest one?
It used to make me twitch. Yeah. Because who do you ask to give their resume to? Do you ask a doctor, tell me the last 10 operations you've done? Right. Now, but at the same time, I understand the interest. Yes. I can totally understand why they're interested, but it's such a strange question because you're pretty much asking me to list my resume. Yes. And I used to answer it, and I used to find it very frustrating because then they wouldn't know half the things I had done.
It's so funny. I know exactly what you're saying.
And so I finally came up with a way to deal with it.
Okay, go ahead. This is very instructive for me, and I hope other people. Yes.
Yeah, so you're going to say to me, as you just found out I'm an actor, so you're going to ask, what have I seen you in?
You're an actor. Yeah. What have you done? What have you been in?
Or I don't know, because I don't know what you've seen. And when I do that, what it does, it makes people think. Because they haven't been thinking, they're just reacting out of excitement, which I completely understand. Right. But when I put it to them that way, they go, oh, okay, well, because when I used to just answer arbitrarily, I would say, well, I've done a lot of commercials. Oh, I don't watch commercials.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Well, I've done some TV. I don't really watch TV.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, I've done some theater. I don't really go to the theater. Well, then why are you asking me to read you my resume? So by saying I don't know what you've seen. Yes. What it allows them to do is actually think about what they really want to know. Right. And then they go, oh, well, have you been on television? Yes, I've done commercials.
That's a great idea.
And I've done television. And then they're like, well, can you tell me what you've done? I said, well, I'll tell you a few things that I've done. Yeah, right. Because I'm not going to give you the whole list. Right.
Do you when you say them? Because when you tell somebody in the business what you've done, it's very different from what you tell somebody when you tell somebody outside the business what you've done. It's like night and day. Because people will scrutinize and know the difference between you doing, let's say, a co-star on a show versus a guest star on a show. Absolutely. And we know that stuff. Right. But somebody who out there doesn't. And I forget sometimes that just appearing on a TV screen
is a big deal for some people.
Is a huge accomplishment.
Yes. Because they don't know anybody else who's done that.
You might be the only person they've ever met who's been on TV, much less who has said a line or two lines or had a part that they remember. Yeah, I mean, so I do forget that sometimes. And,
you have to remember the excitement. It comes out. It's born out of genuine interest and excitement. Yes, yeah. It's also born out of not thinking. Yeah, yes. It's through. Yes. Which again, I completely understand. But I always say to people, please don't ask us to list our resumes. Please don't do that, because I wouldn't ask you to do that in your field. And I appreciate your excitement.
Yeah.
I genuinely appreciate your excitement, but please don't make me do that, because it's going to make me crazy.
Yes. There's that edge. There's that razor blades.
And I don't want to do that.
And you want to go. I don't want to hate you.
Exactly. I don't want to cut you. I don't want to cut a bitch. So I don't want to go back to my Harlem roots in that particular way, as people might think. And by the way, not everybody in Harlem is like that. But I just want to say that out loud.
Really? Because I've heard stories.
Oh, please.
Now, for me, recently, I've almost had the flip side of it.
How so?
Well, sometimes, or not sometimes, but recently there have been a couple things I've done that people see, and then they tell me they've seen it, which is kind of new for me.
Oh, you haven't had that before when they go, I just saw you in the following?
Very rarely until now.
Okay.
Where I mean, other actors might know that I've done it,
right?
But people who I know outside the business go, "Hey, I was watching Daredevil and I saw you,"
right?
Which I mean, it's like,
were you in Daredevil?
Yeah,
me too.
You too. I was going to ask you. I'm like, Daredevil, especially right now, because it's such a
big thing.
Big thing. Have people said to you, "Hey, I saw you in Daredevil"?
I haven't gotten that from Daredevil from people outside the business. I've gotten other things outside the business. I've gotten people from Law and Orders, the different Law and Orders. I've gotten from commercials. Like, I had a Verizon commercial, and that was the first time somebody actually on the street said, "Are you in that Verizon commercial?" It was the first time ever, and I'm like, "Yes, I am."
Like, stopped on the street.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's great.
But most of the time, it's people who know me, or I know when something's running, because I'll be on the train and I'll get that look. You know that look where they just start staring, burning a hole through you?
Yeah.
Like they know you from somewhere, but they don't know, and they don't realize that they're looking at you and staring at you.
Yes.
And that you're not in a box anymore, or they can't figure out where they know you from.
I don't know if I maybe think I get that, but I think my anti-ego does not allow me to think that they're looking at me thinking, "Oh my God, that's the guy from TV."
Well, I didn't think so either until I started making the connection between something running and getting it
That
more.
Makes sense. That makes sense.
And I would actually say, my husband, I think something of mine is running.
Right.
Why? I said I'm getting that look again
that
from
vibe,
people, or people in the street kind of doing a weird kind of look at me.
Right.
So I remember one guy in the train. He was burning a hole in my head, and I kept looking away because I figured he would eventually look away, but he didn't.
Right.
So finally, I just got really close and just said, "Hi, I'm right here. I'm alive. I'm a real person." And he just went, "Oh, sorry." I didn't want to do it, but it was like for 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was a little much.
I kind of had to break the fourth wall, his fourth wall, and realize, I'm actually here.
Yeah, I have trouble with those. I have trouble with those. Again, I don't want to point this at myself too much, but I did the campaign, print campaign for New York Lottery,
right?
And I did this thing where my face was on the tail of an airplane.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That was apparently everywhere.
It was.
And I tried to not be anywhere at that point because I just didn't want to be sitting underneath my face,
And people taking pictures and clicking it.
I just wanted to avoid it like the plague, so I didn't go on the subway at all. And because I didn't know how to handle that. It's just it's a weird thing. Yeah.
Well, you know what I found, because I know I've seen people other actors approached by people and not react very well. I always try to act as gracious as I possibly can.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's just like, again, it's like that anti-ego thing where it's like I'm so grateful that anybody has anything nice to say to me. Right. Period. But it's like beyond that, I run out of like what do I say next? Like
then it gets weird.
Yeah. Then I don't know how to.
Or they ask you, what are you doing next? Going home.
Yeah. Like there's no protocol. Like there's no accepted Emily Post does not recommend how actors are supposed to react to people recognizing them when you have never met that person before.
Right.
And it's like they sort of have like a little bit of a head start.
Right. Well, it depends on again how they treat you. If they treat you as a person that they realize they don't know but they've seen, that's one thing. But I've had the people react like they kind of thought they knew me.
Right.
And that's when you kind of go, okay, this is getting kind of scary and weird. And I don't mean anything bad, but you could just tell that they just felt like they had the right to kind of get into closer in your personal space. They had the right to touch you. Yeah. They had the right to ask you questions like, where are you going? And I'm
what job do you think got people thinking that they were that close to you? What job or jobs do you think were the ones that were people like, oh, I know her so well now?
The Law and Orders and Blue Bloods. I've done Blue Bloods like 11 times.
You've done it with Blue Bloods 11 times.
Yeah, playing a reporter. Yeah.
That's, wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome.
I love that show.
I
love that show.
I did Blue Bloods once. Definitely not 11 times.
Yeah,
you scored.
I definitely scored, and I love them. They're great people, great crew.
Cool.
They're
love
so
them.
cool.
Yeah.
So I've gotten that a few times when people realize. But the weird thing for me is sometimes with family members, people who know me, especially because I have so many people who aren't in the business, but they'll remind me of something I did 15 years ago, like it was yesterday.
Wow. Yeah.
Have you had that? Like, I remember when you did that New York lottery commercial. I'm like, that was like 15 years ago. Yeah. I'm like, I've done a few. You haven't seen any that I've done since then?
But that's the one that obviously that
stuck with
affected
them. But it affected them. But the way they say it is almost like they don't like. That commercial you did? Yeah, I was there, and I shot it.
It's kind of like that Chris Farley thing from Saturday Night Live, where you'd have a famous person on. It's like, remember when you were in the Beatles?
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah, I know.
I do.
I was there.
Right.
Or they ask you what somebody's like.
Sure.
Which is fine. I can totally understand that.
Yeah.
Or I might say, well, actually, I haven't met Donnie Wahlberg.
Right.
And I thought you were on the show.
Right.
Yes.
You don't all hang out.
I haven't been in a scene with him yet.
Yeah.
I have actually been in a scene with the younger brother, the sister, and the father, but not him yet.
Right.
Or you should do a scene with him. I should
be on that show. Yeah.
That's my favorite. You should be on that show.
Yes, I should.
Yes. Maybe you can talk to my agent about it.
Yeah, that's right. If you have any hookup with the producer, let him know.
Let him know that I should be on the show. Things like that.
Start a Twitter hashtag thing for me.
Gameela should be on this show. Oh my God. But again, I understand where the not understanding. I understand where the not understanding of. They have a disconnect because they're not in the business. And I also understand the excitement of it. But I also have had to tell some people, I say, it's just my job.
Yeah.
It really is just my job.
I think that what it is for me is like, I look at what I do and I don't want anybody to make a big deal out of it.
Me neither.
Because
it's our job.
It's an awesome job.
But it's a fantastic job. But it's our job.
And I don't want to make that any more than what anybody else does, because there are people out there doing far more important things than what I'm doing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, everybody serves a purpose.
Yes.
Our entertaining of people serves a purpose.
Yes.
But for instance, you may have had this. You and I both know that once we're done with an audition, we're on to the next thing.
Yes. Don't think...
We let it go. I mean, we try not to hold on to it.
The best skill you can develop is letting go.
Letting go.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And so part of our job is doing it, kind of dropping it, where it landed and leaving and going on to the next thing. So sometimes I would get people saying, how did that audition go? What audition?
Yeah.
And they would look at me like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not remember? I'm like, which audition are you talking about?
Right.
And they're like, are you saying you go on that many auditions? I'm saying, actually, no, I wish I could say that the reason is because I have so many auditions that I can't keep up.
But it's not
about that. It's just that I've let it go and I'm moving on.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's happened since then. And they would tell me, I'm like, that. Oh, it went well.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything? No. Aren't they going to tell you? I said they may not.
That's the thing my wife and I had figured out a long time ago. Is that like, I want her to, obviously, I'm glad that she's interested. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that but she also knows that it's like, it's out of my hands and I'm letting it go.
Yeah.
So we have it's almost like an inside joke between us where she goes, how did it go? And I'll say, fine, we'll see.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm super appreciative that she even asks, and that's more important than anything else to me. But she knows I don't know anything. Well, it's kind of a crapshoot, really.
It is a crapshoot, and that's why one of the reasons I like helping actors coming into the business, whether it is helping them with their on-camera acting skills or helping them just understand the business, is because nobody teaches the business side of it.
That's a huge problem.
It's a huge problem. And one of my career coach, Dallas Travers, she was the first one who said, you should be coaching. And I said, Dallas, there are so many people who are coaching. She said, but she said, not everybody can teach technique and teach the business at the same time. They're usually one or the other.
Right.
So I said, you've got a point. So Bob is bringing me on as one of his coaches to go to.
Right.
I'm I can't tell you what how flattering that was when he approached me about that. I was in shock, but also I love that feeling. The job that I had when I was a mentor at this place was not the greatest job, but the best part of the job was when people, because they come in And they're like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know what I'm supposed to do next. What's the steps? And when you explain to them, I said, first of all, I would always explain to new actors, I said, you know how most jobs are a ladder that you're climbing and it's one rung and one rung? Mm-hmm. I said, that's not a career as an artist. And I said, a career as an artist is like a jigsaw puzzle. And you can start with any piece you want. And you're going to start with the corners and someone else is going to start in the center. And it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you're adding pieces and you're creating a picture, which is your career growing. I said, that's what a career as an artist is like. It's not a ladder that you climb. And yes, there are certain steps and all that. I want to be a guest star. I want to be a co-star. I want to be a day player, co-star, guest star. I want to have my own series. All those things are great. But everybody's path, you can start the same exact way, and the two exact people in the exact same look, the exact same amount of talent, and their careers will be totally different. Right. Because that's just the way that it is. Yeah. And if you can accept that and know that, my favorite thing is when I impart some kind of experience or knowledge to somebody just based on having done it for so long, and I see that, oh, okay, now I get it. When I see that in somebody's eyes, it's made my day because I know what it was like when I started and was like, what the? I've been in business for 10 years and I'm confused. Yeah. Okay, headshots? Okay, what? Yeah. Should I be looking for an agent now? How does this, what?
You're right in that it is a very unique business that way. It's hard to compare what we do in terms of marketing who we are to pretty much anything because of all those variables. Yes. But I think the way you describe it and the path or lack thereof is beautiful. That idea of a jigsaw puzzle is very, very good. I'm gonna steal that.
That's okay. You can go ahead and steal it. That's absolutely okay.
But it's so true, and the idea that you can start two people on the same exact path. Yeah. At some point, they're going to diverge, and it's going to be completely different. Yeah. And both of them could be in completely different areas and doing completely different things, yet still attain the same level of success. Right. But both still be called actors.
Do you remember, it was that documentary, I can't remember the name of it. It was about 5 actors, and one was the guy who got famous from American Beauty, the good-looking young guy, Wes Bentley.
Wes Bentley. I didn't see that.
I can't remember the name of it, but it was because he was like living in a room. He was like roommating with 4 other actors. Okay, yeah. And this documentary, it was before he was famous, so no one knew he was going to become what he became.
Good call by those filmmakers.
And this other guy sort of looked like a Brad Pitt, and him and Wes kind of both took off. Okay. And then the other 3.
Just didn't catch on.
And watching their 2 friends do well, and they're all basically the same. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying, they're not cookie cutter, but
they had the same foundation.
Yeah, same foundation. They all had talent of differing sorts and everything, but it just happens that way. And so it was actually kind of sad, but also kind of educational, because I always have to explain to people, and that's why I do kind of understand that guy saying, what kind of guarantee can you give me?
I was just thinking about the conversation you had. Yeah.
I understand why he asked that, because there is no guarantee, but there's no guarantee in anything, because it's such a risk doing what we do. Yeah. It's such a risk to put yourself out there and to not know if you're going to get any return whatsoever. Yeah. And that could be said of anything, but I can understand that in this career or any career in the arts, it's even more so. Yeah. So you have to really love it. And I always tell people, if it's not your passion, if you're doing it because you think I'd be good at it, or I could be a star, right, or you think it's easy, I always say to them,
or you think you can make money,
and that's your main reason. Yeah. I said, you are going to be very, very disappointed. Yes. I said, because the people who make it are not the people who are most talented. Right. And in fact, remember I started talking about my neighbor, the girl who wanted to talk to me about acting. Yes. Well, when we were sitting down talking, and I came up with it just off the top of my head, I said, there are 5 things, in my opinion, and it's only my opinion, that you need to be a working actor. And I said, from 1 being the most important skill sets, 1 being the most important to 5 being the least important. Right. I said, what are you, and she wrote down what she thought they were. And of course, they weren't anything close to what I had written down, which is okay.
Sure.
Especially and I said to her, and she had put talent on the list as number 1. I said, right, talent's number 5. Yes. And she said, what? I said, the people who work the most aren't necessarily the most talented. I said, the people who work the most are the people who have number 1. And she said, what is that? I said, patience. Now, my coach, Dallas, says she doesn't like the word patience because that denotes being passive and waiting. She likes the word trust. And I do agree with her, but I'm sorry, patience is a part of it too.
Yeah, I think it's more of a semantic thing. Yeah. But I see her point, but I see that absolutely. Yeah. You have to be okay with the downtime.
Yes.
You have to be okay knowing that this week we might not make any money and next week we might not make any money.
Right.
But knowing that the hard work you're doing for no money in the marketing and the
and
strategizing, taking classes, all that stuff is going to get you to the next job.
You're planting a seed and you're just waiting for it to grow. You don't know when it's going to bloom.
And the next job is really just a step towards the next job.
Exactly.
So yeah, it is a very unique career that way, in that you cannot just do the same thing every day and expect to be able to do the same thing every day and earn the same reward for doing the same thing every time.
It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
So patience is first.
Sure.
Next is persistence. Mm-hmm. The people, I said to her, and I've said this to many new actors, I said, the people who make it are the people who just keep getting up every day and going for it. I said, I can't tell you how many actors I know who were 10 times more talented than me and all my working actor friends who are no longer in the business.
Right.
I said, the third thing you need, I said, is flexibility. And flexibility means two things. It means flexibility of mind and flexibility of schedule. Because I can't tell you how many people work a 9-to-5 job and they want to be a commercial actor. I'm like, that's not going to happen.
No, unless you have one of those golden jobs
that let you leave.
Yes.
For an audition. I said, and if you have them, keep them.
Yes.
Kiss them and give them gifts every Christmas. And ask them and get them coffee whenever they want or whatever it is, because they're golden.
Yes.
I said, but most people don't have that. So you have to be flexible enough to be able to get to auditions. And you have to be flexible of mind. You have to be flexible of mind. You have to kind of, one thing I always said to people at this place, I actually had it up on my wall, was I said, you got to be a palm tree in a hurricane. I said, ever seen an oak tree after a hurricane? It's just broken and pieces are everywhere.
It's not there anymore.
It doesn't exist. I said, but a palm tree's lost a couple of coconuts, a couple of leaves, but it's still standing.
Right.
I said, you're not a doormat, but you're flexible. You have to kind of go with what's happening in front of you. That doesn't mean that you don't have any control. It doesn't mean that you don't have a say in what you're willing to tolerate and what you're willing to not tolerate. I said, but you have to be flexible. And then the next thing, number 4, is the ability to market yourself. And then talent, because it's not the most talented ones that work. It's just not. I wish it were, but it's just not.
And what's interesting is that nowhere on that list was anything specific about education.
No.
Because it's true that there's a million ways to approach this business from a functional standpoint.
Right.
You can learn Stanislavski, you can learn Meisner, you can learn a million different techniques. Yep. You can learn a completely different technique.
Yes.
And there's no guarantee that any one of them will put you in any better position, nor will going through any specific program guarantee anything over any other program, or no program at all.
Right.
Which is amazing to think about. And it does speak to everything that you're talking about, is that you really have to be so adaptable that you can go into any potential opportunity and just let go. I think that's probably the biggest thing that those 5 things represent, is just the ability to be a chameleon.
Well, and one thing you have to do is, and so it sounds like something a rapper would say, but you got to respect the game.
Yes.
And what I mean by that is, I can't tell you how many people came to me saying, why do I have to take an acting class?
Right.
Why can't I just get an agent? Why do I have to do this? Why do I actually had people say, why do I have to pay for acting class? Why isn't it free? And I said to somebody, tell me in the United States after high school, what kind of education is free after high school?
Yeah.
And I'm like, it doesn't exist. So why would you think this is any different? But there's this feeling that it's easy to do, so why should we have to pay to learn how to do it?
Oh boy.
And I always say to people, if it were easy, everybody would do it. I said, if you can tell me, I said, you see that commercial that I just did? I said, do you know how many times I did that? I probably did it about 100 times.
Right.
Can you do it 100 times the same? Can you do it 100 times different? Can you do it faster? Can you do it slower? Can you do it while the sound guy is telling you that you're hitting your mic, while the camera guy is telling you you're out of frame, while the director's trying to direct you, and this is all happening at the same time, and stay on hit your mark, and don't move your clothing too much, and don't touch your face. And when I explain this to people, they go, that's hard. I'm like, yeah, it's actually pretty hard. But it's a skill. It's a skill like anything else, and it's a skill that has to be learned. So respect the game. If you want to do it, respect the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Before we wrap up,
okay,
how did you get to be on time?
How did you learn to be on time?
Yes. My husband, my second husband, my only and last husband, hopefully, it was the one who got me out of it, because I have what they call, and I know this is very not PC. I had bad CP time.
Well, you're going to have, because I'm not going to. You're going to have to explain.
Yeah, colored people's time.
Okay.
All right. So, people of color are always late. Black people are always late to their own funeral, that kind of thing. And unfortunately, many stereotypes have some basis in truth. And in my case, it was true. I was late all the time. Mm-hmm. And it was my husband because I kept complaining about how I don't understand why I'm always late. I think he just couldn't deal with it anymore.
Right.
And he said, all right, we're gonna resolve this, because I'm tired of this. So he said, I want you to take a little pad of paper and a pen. This is a long time ago. This is like over 10 years ago. And he said, he said, not when you have an audition, because that's going to be too stressful for you. He said, but the day that you have to go to class or something. He said, I want you to write down how long it takes you to shower, how long it takes you to put on your moisturize your body and wash your face and get your hair ready, how long it takes you to get dressed. I want you to write down how long it takes you to brush your teeth. I want you to write down how long it takes you to get out the door. He said, just as you're doing everything, just make a note of how much time it's taking. And then I want you to take a note of how much time it takes you from when you close the door to when you get to the train, and how long it takes you or the train or the bus and getting to where you're going. And so I was like, okay, fine. This is ridiculous, but fine, I'll do it. This is so, God, all right. So I did it. And when I looked at how long it actually took me to do everything, I was floored.
Yeah.
I thought 15 minutes covered everything.
Oh,
it took 15 minutes to get across town. It took 15 minutes to get uptown. It took 15 minutes for me to get ready. Everything I could do in 15 minutes in my head.
Right.
I had such a bad perception of time. It was ridiculous.
How long did it really take?
It took a couple of hours. And I'm like, it takes me that long to shower and get dressed? And put on my makeup?
I think it's an actor thing.
No. This is way before I was ever an actor. I had been spending my entire life.
Well, you knew you were going to be an actor at 4.
That's true. That's true.
You've been preparing.
I've been preparing,
like
exactly.
an actor since day one.
But after that, once it made me cognizant of how long it really takes to do things. So I'm very rarely late now.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So I think I have to thank my husband John for that. He got me out of that really bad habit. So guys, if you are always perpetually late, try it. You will be surprised how long it actually takes you to do the crap you got to do.
That's good advice.
It really is. Yeah.
How do people get in touch with you? How do people find you online?
They can find me online in a number of ways. I have my website, GameelaWright.com, GameelaWright. I always have to spell it because people are like, Gameela, what the hell? Yeah. Unless you're from the Middle East or Africa, they're like, what?
What is the origin of the name?
It's Arabic. It means beautiful.
Okay. And does it come from a specific country? Or
no, it's Arabic.
It's Arabic.
But my father did choose the Egyptian pronunciation of it, which a man at a shoe store the other day was very not happy about.
Oh.
Yeah, he was. A lot of people from the Middle East get upset when I explained it to them. He's like, oh, that's the Egyptian pronunciation. I said, yes, that's what my father chose.
Fascinating.
And he was like, it's Gameela. I'm like, not in Egypt. Well, it means,
interesting.
Yeah, he was. I was like, do you really want my money? Because I'm about to buy some shoes. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But that's one way.
It's GameelaWright.com.
No, Gameela. Oh, I hate you. It's Gameela. Sorry. I don't care what people say. My father chose the Egyptian pronunciation. So GameelaWright.com. You can find me on Twitter, Gameela Wright. You can find me on Facebook, Gameela Wright. Instagram. All those good things.
All those good things.
All those good marketing things that all you actors should be doing. Not all the time, but at least part of your time should be spent doing those things. Just don't drive yourself crazy doing it.
Hey, thanks for doing this.
You're welcome. This was a lot of fun. I wouldn't mind doing this again.
We will.
Now they're going to be like, who's Gameela?
Gameela Wright, one of a kind. A true credit to New York City and the possibilities of living a full worldly existence. So cool to talk to, and I look forward to having her back on, and I look forward to following her career because she's always doing good stuff, and I think you should too. You can go to her website, GameelaWright.com. That's GameelaWright.com. You can follow her on Twitter at Gameela Wright. You can find her on Facebook, Gameela Wright, and you can follow her on Instagram at Gameela Wright. She's a really smart marketing person as far as her career goes, so she has consistency among her brand, and that's super smart. savvy and fairly indicative of the kind of stuff that she brings to the table, in addition to a tremendous amount of talent and grace and kindness and that little sharp wit that I think really makes me always want to talk to her, because there's always something very cool that happens. In fact, one of my great regrets is that as soon as we stopped rolling, the Spanish Harlem started coming out in this fun bit that she was doing. And I was like, I wish I had kept rolling. But we got something to look forward to for next time. Next time I can sit down and chat with Gameela. Thanks, Gameela, for being there and for putting up with the herd of elephants and for being endlessly cool over the years of our friendship. And I wish you the best of luck. That about does it for another edition of Bring Your Own Lunch. Glad you can join us. Also, thanks to Banooba, banooba.net, BANOOBA.net. That's the band you're listening to right now, providing the music at the beginning, middle, and end of this show. They are terrific, so go check them out. Go see them live, download, buy their music. You know the spiel. Support them the way they support us. And don't forget to go to our website, bringyourownlunch.com. Find out all the information about the guests on this program, past, present, and presumably future. You can also send me an email with some feedback on the show, dave@bringyourownlunch.com. You can like us on facebook.com/bringyourownlunch. Follow us on Twitter @BYOL Podcast. Follow us on Instagram @bringyourownlunch. And of course, if you have a moment, go to iTunes or Stitcher, rate, review, subscribe to the program. Helps us all out and makes us all happy. And we all deserve to be happy. I want you to be happy, and I want me to be happy. Mostly, I just want my back to get better. We'll see. Stay tuned for Jimmy Jack's Cowpunch Hour, followed by Mansoor and the Fish. And until next week, when I've got another great guest lined up, this is Dave. I'll see you next week. Yeah, I'm not going to promise anything other than next week. I think that's the way to go.